Weren't you the
Yes, I was born during a Mercury retrograde.
So what was are you a March or a February
March
Pisces?
17th.
You're March 17th. Oh, so you were cuspy, almost to the cusp.
I was born during a Mercury retrograde.
So what was are you a March or a February
March
Pisces?
17th.
You're March 17th. Oh, so
Oh
you
my
were
gosh.
I have to mute this.
Born during a Mercury.
What are you doing? This, oh, weird. This echoing.
Sorry, that's my fault for the live streaming. There, it's fixed.
My sister is on the 20th of March, and I bet she was retrograde too.
What year was she? 74? No, she wasn't 74. Was
58.
she? She's older. 68.
58. 58.
58.
Well, in the year I was born, the retrograde ended, you know, how we mean ended, on the 19th, 2 days after my birthday. So I was like right on the ending of the retrograde.
Yeah, but it was still in shadow.
Can you look up March 20th, 1958 and see if that was a retrograde around that time? Please, so you're looking at
58, you said?
Uh-huh.
No.
Okay.
But
well,
Retrograde was in April, August, and November.
because when I looked mine up, I think I was born during I can't remember now. It was like Venus retrograde maybe, and Mercury retrograde. It was really interesting.
Just gave Mercury retrograde. I didn't look up all the other ones.
About all this.
Well, it makes sense that she wasn't born in a retrograde, but I was.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, this page I found has all of them. So March 20th. No, there was no retrogrades happening at that time in any planet.
Wow.
June 6, 1962.
6662. That always cracks me up. You're almost 666.
I am a 666. You know, one of those devil numbers.
62.
Uh-huh. I own it.
My twin was born in 62.
Mm.
You think I'm going to judge you for that? I'm just trying to figure out how this one particular site is working so I don't have to go back to.
Sorry.
Back and forth.
Me mute. I don't think I'm over this, Michelle. Still.
Yeah, Lizzie isn't getting over it very quickly either. I'm still waiting, hoping that I don't.
3 weeks. I'm in my 3rd week.
Wow. Wow.
I can just do it the other way. So what was the date? 6/6/62?
Yes. See how easy it is to remember?
Guys,
there was a retrograde that ended for Mercury on June 19th. There was a Saturn retrograde from May 21st to October 9th. So that covers it. And there's Neptune retrograde from February 13th to July 23rd. So it sounds like 3 of them. I didn't type in your exact date, so that's what I was trying to figure out on this one particular one. I was trying to get it just to give me that. So,
oops, I swear, I thought Melissa joined. I see her now. Haynes. I'm sending you all the.
my gosh, it's getting harder and harder every day. I'm like, I don't know, my head was spinning. I started having anxiety again. I had to have a Xanax last night. It made me sleep, but I had to. I don't know. There's a lot of changes happening so fast. So like my daughter is withdrawing from college. Not like she's like, I don't want to wait because she doesn't feel intuitively things are gonna get better. So we talked about it, and she's like, I'd rather have like, I don't want to have a W or a low transcript if I wait too long. I want, and she can't even go down to part-time status because she has a scholarship. So I figure by December, January, if things progressively gets worse, I could go on leave. My father's gonna move in with me. Like we already started setting up things. So my dad's willing to, and he can have this trailer, like that's just sitting in my driveway. So it's kind of strange, but that's kind of where we're going. The thing is, they didn't approve the chemo treatment because it's experimental. The insurance company, so the doctors are fighting. It could take a year. I was talking to one of my clients I do like play therapy with, their grandchild. Her husband didn't qualify for like a certain chemo or something under their insurance plan. And they had to wait like a year, and they had to go to a court judge or something like that. And then once it got approved, it was too late. I'm like, what? So I'm looking at like, anything I could do, like, natural. I guess maybe this is a test to see, like, I don't know if the thing is with his cancer, it's like my daughter's explaining to me because she's really a genius. Brain cancer is a little different than regular cancer because there's no stages or something. She was explaining it to me. There's no stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, especially the type of cancer he has. It's very strange, but I feel like I'm getting a little PTSD from when my mother was getting sick. And I like when my daughter was explaining to my father, she's like, oh, he's even said, it sounds like your grandmother, right? Like, so he's like sleeping a lot. Just so many things, confusion, not knowing what day of the week it is sometimes, lots of dizziness, lots of headaches, lots of tingling in the arms, a lot of weird things. He'll get hot for whatever, burning sensations. I don't know. It's just spreading. And I think, from January till now, it was a big spread. So that's concerning, right? So, I'm trying to get like him to say, okay, let's get healthy. Let's do some juicing. I've been giving these like natural, supplements. I don't know. I have to like really do my research and really figure out like how to be preventative, but I don't know if it's too little too late. I don't know like the timeline, and it's like nerve wracking because you want to know, but you don't want to know. You know what I mean? Like, I have to constantly give up and surrender, like, and not be a control freak, I guess is a good word to explain what I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
So,
it's so hard, right? To let go.
It's a new level of exhaustion.
I bet.
And I knew that it was getting worse as an empath. I felt it in my body, like I felt it in my energy months ago, right? So I knew it was coming as an empath. It's still hard because I feel like, am I taking on some of his symptoms? Like, and I try to like, and I want to share energy with him, but it's like, I don't know, when back in 2015, I thought I had a brain tumor. I don't know why. I was like, I have a brain tumor. And it was him. Like, I literally felt it in my head, right? So, I don't know. I'm going through like premenopause too or something. So I'm always hot and cold, sweaty, cold, hot. The temperature of my building is just like driving me insane because my room is like 100 degrees. They said they're gonna fix it. I'm like, I'm gonna just freak out one day. Like, and I'm like nervous. Like, I don't want to. Like, I can't leave my job right now because of money and everything, and insurance. I just want to get through. I feel like I have to just get through till Christmas. I don't know what it is about that timeline. I'm like, I just have to get through the holidays. It's weird. So it's gonna be rough. I don't know. I'm trying to like find things to just like I had to come on this call tonight. I'm just like, I just gotta get on this call today. I don't know why. Like I'm gonna try to make it. Even though I can do a zillion things, right? I can do my lesson plans for tomorrow. I can do my notes from this afternoon with the child I service. I can do, I'm just like, it's a lot. It's a lot.
I'm glad you came on here.
Thank you.
Yep, me too. You guys want to take a minute and send some energy to Amy?
Yeah.
Call in the angels and the ancestors. I know we've done this more lately, and I think it's helpful, especially when one of us is in a lot of need. And Amy, I can just feel you all like fractured. I feel like I'm looking at like a matrix, right? And there's all these things like a bingo board, and all of the little dots are like helter skelter. And so if we just ask the angels and the ancestors to come in and give Amy and her family all the love and support that they need, and hold space for the way to open for her and her family to get through this really rough time with her husband's health and her daughter shifting her priorities and her father coming in to live in close proximity. Just, we want everything to go smoothly and as easily as possible. And for the balm of love to just flow through all of them.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Amy, with your daughter's scholarships, this one just popped into my head. Can she have like a medical excuse, like a family excuse?
She's got it. So
and then
she's
she
not,
just that she could use, like, even if she's not, just taking a break, that even if it's not exactly for this thing with her father, but she can kind of use it to do both to help her so she doesn't lose all her scholarship and gets her what she needs and lets her take that break.
Yeah. It's good. I think she kind of was always an academic overachiever perfectionist. This was like really hard on her. She's like, it's like her therapist is like, she called them like sad, and she's just grieving that part of her, that her identity, that's not really who she really is, but she kind of took that identity and I know because I've been there many times, but so it's interesting that she had to shed that, and she's doing really well as his caretaker. I told her, I don't want you to do the stuff that like I would do as his wife, like bathe him or like change him or things like that. But she's like really good at like right now where he's at, like, oh, you got to take your meds, Dad, and here's your food, Dad, and do you need anything, Dad? Like that kind of stuff is like making his doctor appointments and like making sure he goes. And because I was going to play with the idea of his family coming in and stepping up, but I don't think they're ready, and I don't think I think his father didn't really fully accept. Mother did. I think she's still in shock, to be honest. And she's taking care of her 97-year-old mother and her 2 grandchildren, which my sister-in-law is a director at the hospital, so they kind of I know it sounds crazy, but that's kind of how they prioritize things. Personally, if it was my son, I would do things differently, but that's on them. If these are the choices they want to make, that's on them. Like they'll help when they can. So I'm just like, I've been down. This is where I've had issues with this family for years, and I know now that I can't fully depend. I have to take, everything on, and I have to make choices and decisions. And I'm glad that my daughter's willing to like help me with that. And like, I'm blessed, right? Like, I'm glad my kids aren't tiny. I mean, I always tell my students this too, like things could always be worse, right? And I think like if my kids were little, I mean, it would be great if my mom was still here, but she's not. But like if my kids were little and I was in a situation, my mom wasn't here and I was in the situation, I think I would feel more helpless. You know what I mean? So I have to think of like, oh yeah, my daughters are growing. They're understanding and like the process of this, right? They're not. So, and yeah, it sucks that they're still young, but they can help me,
Could this challenge be maybe not so that you recognize you need to take everything on yourself, but that even though you originally couldn't depend on these people in the past, this might be a new opportunity to give them a chance
They can step up anytime.
to alleviate some of your
We've told
needs to
them.
have to take everything.
We've told them. I don't know. I think they're just running in circles right now. Yeah, we told them. They know.
Yeah.
They know. Trust me, they know. I just, yeah, no, I'd rather just take it on with like what I have to do with whatever I have right at my fingertips right now. Like, even if it's just friends or family, like outside, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But yeah, they can step up at any time, honestly. So I have no problem with that. Gives me a break.
I know that a lot of time, when things like this happen, and I couldn't imagine it happening to one of my my daughter. I have one, and maybe because parents aren't ready to really either fully acknowledge or even to comprehend that whole thing yet,
Exactly. Yeah.
and are not ready to, be there in that headspace yet. That's very
Yeah.
difficult to accept. So I'm so glad that you're getting the support. But you can come on here
Yeah.
for support, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, but you just stay hopeful, like you have to have hope, and like you just have to see it that way, just things, there's miracles, there's things that change, there's things, timelines can change. I tell my daughter this all the time. Just because it's logically like this doesn't mean it's going to go like that, you know what I mean? It's like that's always in the back of my head too, because I saved his life once already. So I'm like, it'll be okay. I know this is meant to be for whatever reason. That's what I have to say to myself. So
Yeah. Well, how's everybody else? Anybody got anything interesting going on? Joanna's going to win the competition to be, what are you going to get to be on, Joanna?
So in May, I entered in a contest for Face of Horror. So it's a chance to win $13,000 and to meet Kane Hodder, who played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th 4 times. So they'll fly you out to Hollywood. And this year it's staying at the American Horror House that they filmed in the first season. I don't know if any of you guys watched that. I'm a big horror fan. It's actually, one of my twins' favorite things to do back in the day was just sit and chill and binge on like scary movies or go to the movie theater and see the scary movies. But it's going to be really cool. I've been holding down first place in my group, so they have a lot of people that have entered. They choose a select number, and then if you get chosen, they put you in segregated groups at first. So in my group, I believe there's like 109 people in my group, and I've been holding down the number one spot like every day since voting started last week. So it's really neat. I think that I think there's 3 levels. So this first level of voting in the competition will be done after tomorrow. And then the top 20 in the groups get to go on to the next level, and then they'll put us in other groups for voting. So I'm pretty excited. I believe they'll announce the winner. I think it's maybe in November 11th. I'm not really for sure, but my fingers are crossed. It would be awesome to go meet Kane Hodder. When I was a little girl, I watched Friday the 13th with my dad and Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Play. So the movies never really scared me. So kind of have a knack for horror movies, and they're fun and great, and it would be really neat to do a photo shoot with Kane Hodder. Um, Last year, the winter, she stayed in a Buffalo Bills house, and they just made it like a regular night and was going to do the photo shoot the next day. Well, she didn't know, in fact, that they were doing the photo shoot that night, and planned a little scary scenario for her and being chased through the house with a fake bloody axe. So I'm really excited. It would be really great to win this. So I've been manifesting it. Um, it's really weird because I signed up for it in May and I totally forgot about it. And then in August, I received an email from Kane Hodder saying that I was hand selected by him to run into the contest. So I'm pretty sure they sent that out to all the contestants that they chose. But the photo shoots for Rue Morgue magazine. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of it. But Rue Morgue magazine, I used to get them when I was younger, and I was just, like I said, a big horror fan and ICP fan, and that was one of the things that me and Jason really enjoyed doing together was watching horror movies. So I sent him a link and asked him to vote for me, and he was like, "I'll vote for you every day. That's so cool if you'd win it." He was like, "Who are you taking if you win?" I was like, "I don't know, because my husband don't really want to get on a plane. He's got a terrible phobia of flying planes. So right now the kids are trying to battle it out." And I was like, "No, I'm not taking any of you kids," and all that stuff. So um after I kind of mentioned that, he never mentioned like messaged me back or anything, but I know the hamster was spinning on the wheel, so his little hamster wasn't going. Because I think my hamster started going too. I was like, "Oh my god, that'd be so cool." But yeah, I get, and my mom, she had emergency surgery on Saturday. Um, and I just came home not too long ago from picking her up from Oklahoma City. So mama's home, which is good. And I actually went to a job interview yesterday, which is pretty interesting because I know I said like I'm not gonna work for any corporate places, but this is a nonprofit organization where I used to take my clients to go to work. So I'd actually be a job coach with the clients that I used to serve in the community. So the interview went very well, and I should be hearing something by tomorrow or Monday. So thank you. It would be really exciting because I'd be an STC, which is basically working with the lower functioning clients. They're not there. They get paid to learn their ABCs or learn their colors or um, count money, like play money and stuff, so they can learn to count money and stuff. So I'll be doing that kind of work.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you.
You guys, I have to grab a snack. Somebody, yeah, it's that time.
Go take care of
Are
yourself.
you going to share the snack?
Sure, I'll send it to you energetically. Apples and peanut butter, everybody. Yeah, good.
I don't do peanut butter, but it could be some jelly, maybe even have some,
Apple
you know.
jelly.
Yeah, apple jelly is good. Yeah, I'll take that.
Oh,
Have some goat cheese to go with those apples.
that sounds good. That sounds good. You guys, have you all been, I'm usually not dreaming much at this time of the moon cycle, but for some reason, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm having these hyper realistic, like dreams where I'm with the people, I'm in this timeline, but I'm with the people and I'm with the people that I know. Like my dad had to have eye surgery. He had his second of his cataract surgery yesterday. And I didn't even know that it was yesterday or Monday, I mean. And my stepmom, I had forgotten that it was Monday. And my stepmom texted me and she was like, well, they took him back to the operating room. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And I had been dreaming that I was with my dad and like following him through all these corridors right before I woke up. And they were there like really early in the morning, right before I would have been up. So, and I can't remember everything that I saw or did, but I know I was like there with them. And I had that happen too with my daughter who's been sick the other day. I had that happen. And this is not like that sort of thing doesn't usually happen to me. Usually I know I'm in another timeline. I'm in another place, in another body, or Justin and I are, you know, but this time it's been me going places and doing stuff. Anybody else have stuff like that going on?
Well, you've had that with Justin too, knowing what he's been doing. Like you see it and you are like one time I asked you what he's doing and you're like, oh yeah, he's at the store, he's with Marlene and they're shopping and you can see him with the cart and what they had in it and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I never had that with anyone else. It's interesting.
Oh, I see. With others?
I think
Well,
that's
maybe it's
something
something new developing with you.
Yeah, it must be some kind
I've
of
had dreams. I've had dreams like that all the time where I'm with people I don't know, but I know them like that.
Yeah, it happens to me too, but I don't like it because I don't see anything interesting and I don't get any teaching out of it. It's like, it's a regular, ordinary doing stuff with other people, which I don't know. And
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like an ancient time. It seems like a modern lifetime. But I don't know them at all. And I really would want to stop or like not going those places with that people because I don't enjoy it. It is not bad, but it's nothing that gives me joy or that I will feel like, oh, I'm so happy to meet you guys and to be hanging around. It's like living some other type of life, which I don't like it. So I don't see what's the point for me going back to those other parallel scenarios. So I don't know. It just don't, and it's been a while, like a couple of years now.
Yeah,
Just don't.
I agree. I get what you mean. Like, I like the symbolic dreams more. I feel like I get more downloads or something. And those dreams are like, what am I doing here with these people? Like, why? You know, we're just doing average everyday things, right?
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, I hear you. It's weird.
Yeah, so it's like, nah, don't like that movie. Right? It's like, I don't like to be that actress, or no, I mean, what's the point? Come on, I better stay where I am.
Michelle, didn't you say you posted something about that Netflix show? Wasn't that like the same thing with the, I think you put it in the group.
The Russian doll show?
No, it was another one. It was the Black Mirror one.
Oops.
The Black Mirror? The new one.
Yeah. The new Black Mirror where
Yeah.
that we watched the other night that was like all the levels of the different consciousness of the Amy. Wasn't her name Amy? I think it was. Who was in there? I can't remember the character's name, but God, I loved that. I thought that was I was laughing so hard watching that. I was like, this is too funny. This is too funny. And it's too real. And because it's that intersection between our spirituality and then what like AI is doing and where you see the world going with technology and the integration of technology and how fast things happen and your phone listening to you and all of it. I was just like, this is too real.
So 2 weeks ago, I had this dream where I was driving to Lincoln, which is my hometown, with my husband and my kids. and my grandchildren. And we had went to the Sunken Gardens, and I had felt a tap on my shoulder, and it was my twin with his two sons. And they were eating McDonald's, and we were sitting and eating McDonald's. And he was like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing here?" Kind of did that conversation. And then I asked how his mom was doing, and he said, "Well, she's actually at this hospital right now. She's seeking treatment. She's not doing so good." He was like, "You should stop by and see her." I said, "Oh, she'd flip her lid." And he goes, "Yeah, it'd be really cool." And it was like, "Well, we got to go, but I'll try to stop by there if I could." Well, later on that day, I don't know if most of you guys know who Tiara is, Tiara Roberts. Um, she, me and her are really good friends. Like, we hang out when we can. She had actually posted on Snapchat that she was in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Sunken Gardens. No more than an hour and a half that I had woke up from that dream. And then a week later to the day, my mom was ill. And then I ended up having to take her to the doctor like 3 or 4 days later. So
Wow.
I get those dreams. And I also get where if I'm him, I'm talking to his mother in law. I notice that I'm much taller. And I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, in my mind, I'm like, "Oh, okay. So I guess I'm remote viewing." I cannot remote view if I try to meditate into it, but I'll do it in my sleep. I'll remote view, or sometimes I'll be somebody that's shopping with his wife, and she'll be telling me, "Don't tell him I spent this money." Like, don't say anything about us going shopping. So then I know that, she spends money without him knowing. I know when he's going on vacations, or doing something big, because it's always me being him running around trying to get everybody together, or packing suitcases, putting luggage in a trunk, talking to someone. So
Hmm.
I don't know if maybe his mother has dealt with some kind of health issue, and then my mom, and then I don't know, Michelle, you mentioned your dad and everything, and I noticed collectively a lot of people are having like grandparent and parent medical issues arising right now. So that's pretty neat that you bring that up, because it kind of just like, whoa, okay, something collectively is going on here about our elders.
And it's so interesting that you bring that up, Joanna, because I just read an article this morning about how baby boomers are like crashing into elder age and like needing all this care. And those of us who have baby boomer parents are not prepared, like we aren't prepared for it. We knew it was coming. It's been a thing. A lot of us have been starting to give care, but now it's like getting serious, and it's totally taxing our generation. I'm 50, so, or almost, no, wait, I'm 49. How old did I turn this year? What year is this? I'm 49 still. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yes,
Do
my
that
mom's
every time.
I'm a baby boomer.
Yes, my mom's a baby boomer.
Yeah, I qualify under that, and I've been getting a lot of healthcare lately, dealing with stuff
You
like
are, I
that.
guess you are, Maureen. You're just at the,
I'm on
you're
the
at like
tail
the
end.
very tail end.
If for a while there, they said we weren't, and now we are. Okay. They didn't know what to call us. We were just kind of this generation that was there, and then they kind of lumped us together with the baby boomers.
Mhm.
Mm. But I had a very interesting conversation with my uncle. He brought me home from the family lunch that we had today in Centralia, and um, he was talking about an experience he had with LSD years ago, and he wanted to have my take on some things that had to do with shamanism, but the whole thing boiled down to about dying. And we got in a discussion that the main thing was about resisting and allowing, our
Yes.
resistance to this happening, this process, this natural process. And then, like, um, he was talking about when he was really young, and he took this stuff, and he was in this car, a Volkswagen. Can you imagine a Volkswagen Bug with 5 people in there? They're all kind of mushed in. They go somewhere, and there is marshy water by Reed's College. Michelle, you know this area. So they get out, and he's going through, and he just goes through there just fine. And he said, I don't know how I navigated it at night, navigating through the marsh, and it was okay. Like I it was easy for me. And I says, well, it sounded like you were just working with the energy of the marsh and you weren't resisting. So it's easier when you're doing that for you to allow things to happen. So if you allow things to happen for when it's time to go instead of resisting it because of fear and whatever we get in our head about it, what would it be like if you just allow and remember how it is to be in that marsh and have it you work through it? I mean, that's a lot of heavy energy, the marsh, right? Trying to get through all of that stuff. But I was just like, wow, we talked about stuff. Magic mushrooms a whole bit. I mean, it was ayahuasca. We talked about all these things that could, like get you into touch with what, I guess maybe the things that we resist about in life, because that's what a lot of that is when you go into doing these things. So anyway, it was quite the conversation. I was kind of blown away by it.
I never did acid, but I'm intrigued. I definitely want to try ayahuasca. I heard it's amazing because I heard like people that have PTSD or people that are they can't get off heroin, they do it and they get like clean up. They clean up. So I think it's amazing. Like I watched this documentary. I can't find it now. It's called The Last Shaman. And it was about he always dealt with depression, and his family put him on different drugs and to psychiatrists, to doctors, everything, until he found a shaman in Peru that he trusted. And he had to do it a couple times. Like he had to do it until he got clean. Like he got off antidepressant. It was such an interesting documentary, and how he finally got happy. He was never, ever, ever happy in life. He finally got happy on that. I thought it was so interesting.
I have people that I know who's done ayahuasca, and I would say, there's like anything, there's all these people that do it once, and then they come in and they say, well, I can do it. I know all about it. And no, please do not go with people like that. You can go and really check out who you're going to do it with, especially if you're doing ayahuasca, because you can really have some bad experiences, and you have to have people who know how to do the whole ceremony.
Yes.
And but I find that there's a lot of benefits to it, and you're right, it does help out with a lot of things. And I don't know, even Michelle and I've gotten conversations about mushrooms, right? What was it, the ghost pipe as well?
Yeah, we found ghost pipe growing. Justin and I found it growing on a hike once, and yeah, we got that.
Years ago.
I microdose all the time with psilocybin when I feel like I need it. Like I don't usually trip though. I usually only take just enough to it really evens things out. If I'm getting like over anxious or frustrated about something, I notice it makes a big difference. Anyway, but yes, I think it's magic.
I have done ayahuasca too. But the first time I did it, I was on my own actually at home.
Wow.
Because I chose that. I just ordered it in Mexico, and they deliver it like in a heart-shaped container, and it was like this size. So I took it all in one session, and I was in my room. I was sharing the house. I had roommates, but they were out. That's why I did it, because I knew I was going to be all by myself at home. But I didn't get any bad experience out of it. I had a lot of, imagery, but all the time I stood in my bed so I could find myself relaxed. And if I maybe will fall asleep, I will be just safe there. So to me, it was not like a big deal, like having a bad trip. And one of the other times that I did it with a shaman, this was the ceremony here where I live in this town. Well, another town like 1 hour ago from here. They came from Colombia. He was the abuelo. They call it the abuelo, like the grandpa of the tribe, because he was 108 years old. So he did the ceremony, and he started so late that like around 12 at midnight, because he was late. We were supposed to start around 6 o'clock in the evening. So it was all this time delayed, and I was hungry, I was starving, and we were instructed not to have anything, nothing eaten before the ceremony. And one of the interesting things, what my point is with this specific ceremony, is that they advise all women not to show up if you were in your period. Now, I didn't follow the instructions. Why? Because I wanted to test. So it happened that it was scheduled. I had it scheduled 1 month before I made my upfront payment, to reserve my spot. So it happened an eclipse. I don't remember if it was a lunar or solar eclipse, but the thing is that I got a misadjustment in my period. So the event was supposed to be on a Friday, and I got the period like on a Wednesday, which was not supposed to be. But it was not that much that I was afraid of. So what I did, I anyway wanted to go to the ceremony, and I just programmed from a distance myself, and I just connected with the ayahuasca that I was going to drink beforehand. And I said, hey, I got a little bit of period and I don't want any mess. So I'm going to go, I'm going to have you, and I don't want to experience anything that will affect me in the wrong way, because we were warned about not, being that situation. So I didn't care. And since I did this, like I programmed myself and I programmed the ayahuasca, what was the type of experience that I want to get out of it. I decided to go the Friday, in the Friday morning, the period got like eliminated, like it stopped. And I headed to the town. Like I said, I arrived like 6 p.m. when it was supposed to start. And I was still good. I mean, I had nothing. The period was gone. So when he arrived and all things were being prepared to start, because we're a large group of people, I don't know, it was like maybe over 50 people reunited. And there was this woman who started to ask one by one to women, hey, like very discreet, hey, are you in your period? Are you in your period? Are you in your period? Like one by one. And when she got to me and she asked me the question, I said, no. And she said, okay. So because I really was not having anything, I was clean, but it was like, a risk that I could get maybe some more later. I don't know. So the thing is that we started to have the first intake, and it was so heavy. Oh my God, it was like a big spoon like this. And you had to line up, all the people will line up just to get to the grandfather, to el abuelo, because he was giving it to you on your mouth like this. Boom. You will line up and he will do like this. You have to swallow it. Oh my God, it was so sour. And it was heavy. So yeah, it was good because I just went to retreat myself. But all the night long, because we were awakened until the next morning, I was so good. I didn't experience anything at all, no cramps. Whenever I went to the restroom, I didn't experience anything, any leftovers of period. I didn't have any indigestion even with my stomach. And there were a lot of people that were throwing up, around the bushes. And there were people who were having really bad time. and on the corners of, because we were next to a river, and it was so nice because there was this camping and the river was, passing through, and we were hearing the noise of the water, running. So end of story is that I think it really helped me not to have a bad experience with ayahuasca because of that situation of that period. I don't know if you gotten some other experiences where you get this warning or some other type of warnings. It just,
Warnings
that's
about being on your moon or your period.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the Lakota way, in a lot of the indigenous cultures, especially around like ceremonies of going into sweat lodge or any sacred ceremony, really, they feel that when a woman is having her monthly, is sacred. It's like you are very sacred because you're doing your own cleansing, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. So I used to be very upset about it, like I can't participate because I'm my period. That's a bunch of bullshit. That kind of way. And then I learned that, yeah, it is a very sacred time that you're doing your own cleansing. And so why go into a sweat lodge where you're supposed to cleanse when you are already doing it? So, and that is maybe why they say that for I have no idea, but just thinking about it, that's a lot of energy. And then to do the ceremony like that with the ayahuasca, that's a lot of energies that you're doing. And so it was good that you built relationship with the plant spirit.
Yeah.
I wanted to add to that, Maureen. My husband is Cheyenne Arapaho, so we do Cheyenne Arapaho ways, and like Sundance is church, and
Do you do
they do
the
the sweat lodge,
yeah, and the
and
mushrooms? Is
then
that
we do Cheyenne Arapaho, but we do the Arapaho ways since it's
Mhm.
his grandmother's ways. They follow the grandmothers. So when we go and do the Sundance, I actually had started my monthly when we had went, and I was kind of sitting there cramping, didn't really say anything because I had no idea. And I guess Jeremy's mom had asked him if I was okay. He was like, yeah, she started her period. And, you know, that's when I had, oh, what is that? Why I had to have my hysterectomy. But anyways, she was like, oh, make sure she don't go and touch the food. Make sure she doesn't serve any of the elders this time, because usually I would help and serve the elders because they get served first. She was
Right.
like, also when they do the bone ceremony, which they take an eagle bone and whistle the prayers to heaven, to creator. Um, I couldn't be around to watch that while they did that, because the part that they choose is sacred. It faces a certain way, and this truly is about the women, cleansing and being purified and sacred. And it's a like a sacred prayer. Like I said, church, they do it like once a year. So like when you're on your monthly, even I've been told, like when I was doing shrooms, somebody had asked me if I was on my period. I said no, I had a hysterectomy, and they're like, oh, okay, good, because if you are ingesting shrooms, it's suggested not to do it on your monthly, because that's your purification time. And I don't know exactly what it could mess up. I guess I should have asked, but I didn't, like, as to why. But I just took it as, oh, okay, well, I'm not on my period, so I could take that. But I I understand, like, with the Cheyenne Arapaho ways and Native ways, um, it's because the women, have to be tended to. Women aren't supposed to do anything on their monthlies.
Yeah.
The tribe tends to the women that are on their monthlies.
Which tribe is it that does the oh my gosh, it's a dried either mushroom or cactus or
Peyote,
peyote, the little button, yeah.
Cheyenne Arapaho does.
The
They
Arapaho.
sit in a sweat lodge for 7 days, and then
Oh,
they
that's
come out
right.
on that seventh day.
Hmm.
Yeah, after doing the smoking, they smoke a peace pipe. The ones that are attending the prayer, they don't eat or drink for 7 days, and
Well,
they
that's quite
smoke
the vision
peyote.
quest in the sweat lodge to do
Yes,
that for 7 days. That's huge. I used to
and they
run.
do it in June.
I used to run sweat lodges and go to sun dances. I did 4 years, and I can I can see about doing vision quests, but in a sweat lodge that's big, and then doing peyote. So, whew, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
We just got word that my husband's cousin Richard, because he's a chief, but he also is a tattoo artist here in Enid, but he is one of the chiefs for the Cheyenne Arapaho, that he's actually going to be doing the Sundance next year. So we're pretty excited about that, since my husband's grandpa passed away, which he is the one that held, like, I guess the one that ran the ceremonies. And so now it's, the elders are starting to pass to the spirit world. So now the younger is having to carry out traditions.
Yeah, it's very difficult because a lot of the younger generations aren't interested in it. And I've talked to lots of the elders, and they say, well, my kids they're not interested in it. And sometimes their grandkids are not interested, and then the great grandkids pick it up. And I'm so glad now they're starting um, to preserve it, to really interview and talk to the elders about their language and to keep that language. And it's so weird because I can speak trade language. I can speak the Lakota, the Cowlitz, and some others, and I have the most difficult time with mine, which is Anishinaabe, and it's very difficult to speak it.
It's
And
very difficult to speak the Arapaho too.
yeah,
My husband's name is Nakatanisa. That's his native name, which is baby eagle.
mm,
So I know that. I know that Nihi means to poop.
you know the important words.
Learn all the curse words.
Nihi.
And then you
Yeah.
say to somebody like an endearment, just enough.
So what language is that? Native in what
Hers was Arapaho.
okay. So you also know how to curse, I believe.
I used to
Don't you?
Uh,
in Lakota. Oh my goodness.
Can you teach us some words of how to curse with that tribe language?
Oh, what you learn on the Warriors Weekly.
Well,
It has everything to do with our twins, right? So we can curse
Right.
at them, right? Very upset at them. Oh my good grief. Yeah, well, I was just saying it was such a wonderful conversation with him, to touch bases with him, because he was really um how can I say this? Concerned about having a conversation like this with me, and what if people in our family knew I was having a conversation, or he was having a conversation with me like this, and what they would think. And I said, you know what, I'm a big girl, I really don't care anymore now. I mean, I just been through the ringer with my family, and if they're going to judge me on it, well, or you, so be it. You just got to let them have their own beliefs, because that's their beliefs and not mine. And if they're going to be like that, just whatever. I'm just so sick of
It's
that.
interesting you say that. I just went through it today with Lizzie. She is sick.
Mm.
She's been sick since last week, and she was with us last weekend. And I told her, don't go to school Monday. Go ahead and just stay home and try to get better. Well, she got up and she didn't want to argue with her dad, because she's with her dad during school days. And so she went ahead and got up and went to school. And then I went and picked her up before school even started, because she was feeling so bad. And I took her home, and she took off yesterday. And then I guess she went to school today. And Ken was like, well, I'm not going to come pick you up. You're just going to have to push through the day. And she's coughing and people are looking at her funny because everybody, is sensitive to that. And she and I had this whole conversation today about standing in your power and like accepting. She's like, well, why isn't he more understanding? I'm always there for him and I always help him when he's sick. And, I don't ever complain at him or cause problems for him. This is a 16-year-old trying to figure this stuff out, or she'll be 16 next week. And I was like, look, these are lessons that you're learning right now. You get to know people. Your family patterns stuff for you. You see how they act, and it will always be up to you, even with your family, whether you let them treat you that way or not. It doesn't mean you have to be a jerk. It doesn't mean you have to be defiant or anything like that, but stand up and speak for yourself. And your dad and his patterns, repeat yourself. And the only way you get his attention is by being a squeaky wheel, but then he will still ignore you, right? This is his trauma. And so it's funny that you say that about the family, because that's the lesson I'm really trying to impart to her right now, because she is martyring herself. She went to school because even though she didn't feel well enough to go to school, she went to school to please him or to not cause friction with him. And I'm like, mm-mm. And the problem is I have no control when she's over there, right? She's under we have 50-50 custody, right? But when she's with him, he's in charge. And when she's with me, I'm in charge. And so it's like, and I've also in the past been willing to step in and say something, and I just won't do it anymore, because ultimately she's got to learn not to wear that martyr mask and to really, this is one of her challenges. That took me decades to learn it. So interesting is, it's kind of the same thing where your uncle is worrying about what your family would think about this or that, and whether you guys should be having or I don't know whether it was that he was worrying you should have the conversation or not, but it just totally echoes of what Lizzie and I were talking about today.
Well, it's so funny because we were in the car for an hour and a half, and we got in this conversation when he pulled into the driveway to, here at the house. And then I'm like, here it is. I felt something with him the whole entire time. We were having great conversations, but yeah. And then he just brought that up, and at first he really didn't know how to bring it up, but I could tell he really wanted to talk to me and figure something out, and he didn't know who else to talk to, and to bring that space. But I think that if we're going to bring the twin flames in on this, I really feel like me speaking up and telling my truth to bear. Finally, if you want to bring it into the same thing as what you're talking about, the martyring part of it, I never thought about it until you said this, is me martyring myself by continuing to not talk up and speak to him about these things. I would just nod and let it go, nod and let it go, nod and let it go. Even though in my mind I'm like, oh, here it is. He keeps on doing this repeat pattern. But I was also doing a repeat pattern until I decided that was enough of that. This is where I'm at. This is my boundaries, and that's it. And now it's kind of like, it's today's the 13th, so in 2 days it will be 2 months.
July.
Yeah.
Right before your anniversary of when you met.
That was in July. Yeah.
Right. And then you stopped talking, you put up the boundaries.
Yeah, it would have been 6 years, and I was just like, that's enough of this stuff, man. In the way it is, in the way the relationship is. That's a good way to phrase it, because it doesn't mean the relationship's over. It just means in the way that it was is where I was doing the boundary.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that was part of martyring. So thank you.
Anytime we ignore our own best interest to make way for others, even our twins, is martyring.
Yeah.
Last night, Justin and I were watching TV because last night he's off Mondays and Tuesdays. And he was like, oh, Mondays and Tuesdays is the only night we get to watch TV together anymore. We have so much fun watching TV together, and we just talk the whole time stuff. So we're like, oh, there's that and there's this. And we, it's just this constant back and forth. I'm sure it would drive people crazy who are in the room with us, but it's one of our enjoyments, right? And we really pick and choose what shows we watch. And so last night we're watching, because I watched the whole season of Russian Doll like in one night when he was at work, and he was really upset when he came home. I could tell when he goes, wait, you watched the whole season, not just the whole first episode? I was like, yes. And I felt so bad. And so then we've been watching it and catching up while he's been off on his days off. And last night we finally got to the end of season 1 where we were both watching it. And then I was ready to go to bed, and he let it roll to the first episode of the next season. And I was like, oh man, I had to be at a grand opening of a new clinic today early, and I had all this stuff going on. And I didn't say anything, even though at the moment I was like, man, all I want to do is go to bed, but I didn't want to say anything. And now I realize, Maureen, while you were talking about martyring, oh, look what I did last night, even with my twin, because I needed that sleep. I'm so tired, and I'm still so tired, but I got through today. And I was just like, man, Justin's getting dressed and ready for work. And I went upstairs with him while he changed, and I fell asleep on the bed in like the 10 minutes it took him to get ready. That's how tired I was. So not healthy. I let my martyr come out. Not good.
I was such a people pleaser. I don't even know who that person is anymore. I'm like, who was that person? And the last 8 years is like totally gone. I can't believe it. That was like that my whole life. And I was thinking about that the other day, and like, I don't martyr as much as it, like, I mean, once in a while I'll do it for just what my current situation is, but like, I don't think I could ever go back to that ever. Like, once I got a taste of something different, I just I gave myself so much self-care, and I still have to do that, right? It's like continuous, but I had time where I had to learn that, and it was only, someone can tell you, but you still won't do it. You have to do it for yourself to really process what it feels like to be your own caretaker. But yeah, like my twin flame is just, I don't know. I'm not thinking about him. It's so it's weird because my priority isn't him, but yet I'll still get freaking music blasting in my ears. There's our song. There's our song. There's our song. I'm like, why? Like, I'm not even thinking about you, right? I guess it is comforting. I'm like, okay, maybe it's our higher selves. Whatever. I don't know, but like, I'm not even thinking about him. Like, I'm not. He's not in my, I don't know, radius, radar, whatever. I'm just in a different place right now. But I had these like timeline things where, had we not been so immature when we reunited back then, it was such a childhood. Like, I look back on it, like, we were such freaking children all over again, like we were in high school. And then I have this student that's like, damn, if he's not him, just the way he acts when he's triggered by me. And like, I just have to ignore him and not kiss his ass, right? And not chase him for attention because he wants me to chase him, right? And I'm like, what the fuck is this? Right? This one student. I'm like, this is like a test. This is some type of test from you. I'm not kidding. Like, because I was like so, like no one's ever triggered me like that. No one. Like, I mean, like my twin, like no one. And it pushed me so hard. Like, it was just, I don't know. But I look at it now and I'm like, had we been mature, had we had them, if I had known, woulda, coulda, shoulda, whatever. I said, right now I could use his ass helping my husband with me. Or like, had I gotten divorced from my husband, I would still be helping my husband with him. Like, I mean, that's maturity, right? Like, that's what would have happened had we been matured so many years ago. But we just weren't ready, So I get it. I was just living this like life of being 20 years old in my head till I was 39. There was no growth at all, with the exception of my 2 kids. There was no soul growth. The last 8 years, I don't even know who the hell I was 8 years ago. It's weird.
Constant rebirth and little deaths.
Mhm. But I have no expectations at all. But I always like see we're so like we live so close together. His father's in the next town. Like that but we've done that. We're like 23 years was our biggest separation. Never ran into each other. And yeah, he lives next, like down the road from my house. What are the
That's strange.
weird? I don't
Meant to
know.
be
Really?
set up by your spirit team like that, right?
I don't know. I just think if I run into him, like, what would we do? What would we say? Would we just stare? We'd probably just stare at each other like this. It'd be
Wow, down the road. Wow. Hmm.
yeah, I know. I know he's down the road because it's his dad. Weird. Because I can run into so many people I know that I'm friends with. Like, this doesn't happen. It's okay.
God, I hope it's not 23 years until I hear from Bear. Oh, sorry. Just, oh no. If that's the way it's gonna go. I guess that's the way it's gonna go, right?
Yeah.
Amy,
It'll
I think
happen when
this
it's-
journey, I think this journey is supposed to change us so much that we can never go back to who we used to be. So
Yep.
when you say, I don't think I can ever, we're not meant to ever go back
Mm-hmm.
to who
Absolutely.
we used to be. That's why we go through all of this and change so drastically. And so we can't. Because if we ever did, we'd be like, I can't do this. It's just not who we are anymore. It's so uncomfortable. If we had to, then we couldn't do
That's
it.
funny. Oh, go ahead, Erin, finish what you're saying, because I'm thinking about those dreams I've been having. Go ahead.
No, that's what we just couldn't, even if we had to go back to like we were in a situation, we would just find ourselves so uncomfortable in our own skin having to fall into that old pattern. We can't go back.
Like getting out of the comfort zone. Once you get out of your comfort zone, a little comfort zone, and then you stretch yourself out of there and you grow and evolve, and then you try to get yourself back in that little space is way too difficult and uncomfortable.
Yep. I had a dream about Ken and following Ken around, one of these dreams that I had. And it was like panic attack in the dream because I was like, what the fuck? I can't. Why? And it took me over. I can't go. I would never. I mean, I know I left that on purpose, but even just the dream of being there was like triggering in that way.
A lot of all my lessons that I've been learning lately from the divine are this fine line is what I call it. Like when I was depressed, I felt empty. This kind of hollow version of myself. And when you're in neutral, because of my brain and how when I came out of my depression, the only thing I wanted when I was coming out of my depression was to feel the farthest version and vibration away from depression. And neutral at times could feel like I was slipping back into depression. So it was this fine line of realizing I wasn't numb. I was just
+1458.
Sorry.
I wasn't numb anymore. That's the difference between depression and neutral. Feeling numb or just not letting things get to you or, sway you. And the other one was, when I was a child, I lived with my stepfamily and I learned to just shut down and not talk out of preservation of myself. I was protecting myself. And now when I learn to just not talk, it's more of because I'm learning to listen better and I'm learning there's not something that needs to be said. And so to me, it's like, am I walking away and not speaking because I'm shutting myself down or just because I'm not engaging? And so they kind of look the same on the outside exterior, but they had to feel different to me. And that was what they have been learning a lot lately, is that this may look like something I did in my childhood and who I was, but it's actually for a very different reason right now, and it's not the same. So it's been kind of where I was going with this. My brain is not working. I don't know where I was going with that story and why we were talking about all these lessons. And
Erin, it's perfectly fine. We all heard exactly what we needed to hear from you. And you said just what you needed to say.
yeah, apparently. Because normally the divine just says, here's where you were going with this. They remind me and they're like, it's okay. You're done. Okay.
Oh, Erin, I love you so much. You're so different.
Yeah,
from
I'm so glad.
2 years ago. Or however long ago, wasn't it? Was it 2 or 3 years? I don't know, you guys. I can't remember.
Well, I met you about 2.5 years ago. It's been 3.5 years for me. Here's what's funny. Is I've been like feeling very overwhelmed of everything. I know where this story's going. And then yesterday I was like clearing. I'm like, you know what? I surrender. I just get like, just take it. Just, you can have it. I can have the shower. And all of a sudden I had this pile of papers that were blank and I was using them for something else. And I just started scribbling and writing. And I had this huge insight. The insight was not the important part. It was what I was drawing. So I was drawing all these, trying to take this concept I already understood, we already understand. And I was trying to like, how do I change some of those concepts out there into something that's better understood and better, more relatable. So they were actually giving me the information I'd been waiting for a while for. As I'm sitting there and they're trying to explain merging in this idea they put in my head, this image, I started to draw the image. Now I'm not the best drawer. I do stick people. So when I'm drawing this image, I see like, you know, the chart of the vibration chart, which is an upside down cone. And I see it as they're kind of overlapping. And I start drawing it. And as I'm drawing it, I suddenly went, oh my God, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I think before I met you, I had asked the divine for like trying to learn light language and
I was just gonna
myself.
say I had downloads just now. You're gonna start doing that.
They gave me 5 words, concepts, and a pictures and a holograph. Yeah, an image that went with each picture. And as I'm drawing this image of the vibrational cones and how they're overlapping to explain the idea of merging, it suddenly hit me with the image they gave me for being one, as one soul. And I'm sitting here, I started drawing it and I started going, oh my God, I understand something from now connected to something 2 years ago that I already had. And I just was like flabbergasted. It wasn't all the insight that they were giving me about the concept. It was the thing they had me drawing at that one image. And I drew several images, but that one image was just this symbol that they'd given me a couple years ago on meaning that me and my twin were always one. And it was amazing. Just amazing. Love those moments. Had to share that one.
You might be doing more of that.
I was just saying, Amy, what was your
Sorry.
download? I want to know.
Oh no, before she even said anything, I was telepathically like reading her mind and I knew she was gonna say that. Like I was like, she's gonna start writing in light language. Maybe that's why you're just forgetting. You're like, you know what I mean? Like your brain, you're dimensionally shifting somewhere else. That's what I saw. Like I used to talk in tongues as a little girl. I actually wish I had those like tape recorders. So as a little girl, I used to talk in tongues. I used to record myself, not knowing that that's what I was doing. And I would be so fascinated to like play it again to see if like I could like interpret what I was saying. You know what I mean? I don't know if those cassettes, who knows where they are, but Yeah. So we all have it. I think it's just there, but we just don't. I mean, not everybody can tap into it. You know what I mean? But that's good that you're starting to write. That's awesome.
And they only gave me 5 of them. Like, that's it. I have 2 of them. One of them was like when I'm needing grounding, like really needing it, really needing to balance. One is a kind of it's a call to be aligned. The other one is a call for help. It's not like, it sounds like a word and it has an image, but there's a whole concept to it. The other one was like being united as one, alignment. Then there was a one of a thank you for, guiding me, and a gratitude type phrase. But the one, and there were times where I was like, when I first got them, I would draw them on myself. I would just take a pen and draw them and repeat. And I can still use a couple of them. Well, I have 5 of them and I wrote them all down. I still use 2 of them majority of the time, but this one I use every once in a while. But it was really just amazing that this idea all comes through, and here I draw a symbol that I already recognize, just not understanding how it fit here. And so I was trying to find it because I scribbled all over the papers.
Oh, Maureen has something.
She was doodling last week during the call.
Oh my gosh.
This my last week during the call, and then this, and then this time it's this. And I realized that these look like the infinity symbol, so I was doodling this on this one, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at this and I'm like, it looks like the Om.
Yeah.
And this is words that we my twin flame and I call each other.
I don't know if I can try
Oh
and see
yeah.
it. It looks like a W.
Yeah.
And yes, it says I was drawing an image and I had Jack and Jill as names, but it was a W that overlapped and the stars were part of it. So this is the soul, and then the 2 individual people and how they cross to be. Yeah, I had been drawing it for years and now understood what it was for. It was just, one of those really amazing moments when all of a sudden everything just clicks and makes sense.
It just makes sense. I love those moments.
Yes, it makes more.
I didn't know what a dorji was, and I thought this kind of symbol was going to be the symbol for my my company, because it's the infinity symbol, which is in indigenous tribes, and so it's a dorji as well. And I had drawn the dorji with these on here, and I'm looking at these now and I'm like, oh my God, they're all related.
So what is that used for? What is that dorji for?
Well, since you asked. So I have a bell, and so it has its own dorji up here, and this is the female, this is the male. And so it's actually like this. And there's certain ways in which you play them. But I also can play them this way. Yeah.
That felt good.
It did. Where did you feel the vibration at?
I'm sorry?
I felt it in my jaw, interestingly. And then right down here on 2 sides of my heart, like my high heart. That was weird. It was like connecting across my throat. Where'd you feel it?
Lower chakras.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it will go into your body wherever you need to. It's very healing
Right.
and it's such a beautiful sound. Um, and it took me almost 3 years to find a matching pair that had a sound that I liked. Because the other one sounded tinny, but yeah, that's the Dorji in the bell. The Dorji in the bell.
so cool.
Then so it's the yin and the yang, which I was telling Michelle last time. It was like, oh yeah, remember, Michelle? I was like these little things here is like the yin and the yang.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm just kind of like, that's so weird that I've been drawing this and then here she's talking about it and how she's been drawing these. Erin, I'm talking about you. That's crazy. And I'm not paying attention when I'm doing this. I'm just drawing because I'm listening and I'm just processing word. Is that how you do it, Erin? You just process it through like that?
Just let it flow.
Yeah.
I just started, I mean, it's Amy's fault I automatic write because Amy suggested I do it and I realized I do it like fantastically. And so it's once I start, it just comes flowing because I just suddenly like open up. And what they were telling me is actually this. Lately it's been about, I've been seeing all these posts about people who, the old ideas of like, twin flames are a split or a divided soul, or we're a copy, how we all see people all start saying, trying to figure out how to properly explain what twin flames are and use the right terminology. The labels, words are fickle little things. The labels have kind of given people the wrong impression. So I'm really putting a lot of thought into what are the right labels to put on this. And I was trying to figure out how to say this, how to articulate it. And I wasn't doing a very good job of it. And suddenly it just like, I love my analogies. So they finally gave me a good analogy to use on how to help people understand that. I think people kind of they associate thinking like if we call it, we'll just call it heaven, because I do it in relatable terms, is where the dimension that, our soul is located. We don't leave, we don't exit there and enter a body. We're still there. Our soul is in more than one place at one time. And so when they, the idea that we're split and we're half of a soul is not true. We're just in more than one place at one time. We're still the full soul. We're kind of just an aspect or portions of our soul that's sent down to earth in a body. We're not the full portion. I got it from watching the TV show called Foundation. It's on Apple TV. And a guy makes a copy of himself, but he doesn't give the copy of himself all the information. And so they were giving me this stuff and I'm like, okay, half the people I know don't watch Apple TV. So that's probably not going to be very good. So they gave me like the electrical line that comes into your house. There's one power line. It goes into a circuit box. And the circuit box is there to portion off the energy into dedicated areas. And that's kind of what we are, is we're this one main energy line. And our twin is one portion of a circuit. We are one twin, or one portion of the same circuit. We're all the same energy, just a portion of it. We have the tools we need for each individualist, but we're not apart, we're not divided, we're not a copy. We are still whole. We just need to open up the access and flip open more circuits. And trying to explain this so that I think people will think that when we were divided, when they think we're split as souls, that when, again, thinking of it as in heaven, that if we were had both aspects of our soul up in heaven, that we're two little bouncy, we're just going to say beings bouncing around heaven. We're not split at the soul level. And I think that's where a lot of the misconceptions and misunderstandings are, is people associate it with being two separate soul beings and kind of one of my missions is to like rewrite some of the labels and try to help create more better ways to articulate and make these things in more relatable terms. Something I'm just good
Everybody
at.
has different ways they relate to it and that makes sense to them. And so you're finding a way that will speak to certain people, because the way that I see it, and like my spirit team has taught me, is that we're two copies of the same soul, and we're joined by tendrils of soul essence between us. Justin and I are. That's why we feel everything that the other feels. We both brought a whole copy of ourselves into this body, but our higher self still exists just the same, right up there. And there's this little oculus through which our soul DNA, whatever we need in this lifetime to complete our mission and to do everything that we came here to do, is like the way that DNA comes through this little oculus, and it like focuses it down into us, but yet and we brought all of that together, and he expressed certain traits of that soul DNA, and I expressed certain traits of that soul DNA, and together, when we can find each other and begin on the mission that we have, which is a 3D, in 3D together, which is admittedly different than other people's. Erin, for example, yours is all in 5D so far. Right? It's like the two copies of the same soul have all the same elements and pieces and DNA inside of them. It's just that we're expressing the different tools and traits that we need in order to achieve, the mission, which is greater than we could achieve in one body alone. But like when I explain it that way, that other people are going to understand it better when you talk about the energy circuit, right? It will speak to certain people. I think it's awesome that you're crafting your words and your teachings like that. It's amazing.
Looks like the higher self, we label it as our higher self because that's the piece of our soul that's up there in that dimension, but it's still just our soul.
Yeah, I don't think it's a piece. I think I see it all as one whole thing. That's why I'm saying like our higher self is all there, and there's just this oculus that like focuses what we need into these 3D meat machines that we run around and do our jobs in, our mission in. Anyway,
kind of goes with my analogy. I use a puppeteer and two marionettes. The puppeteer is our higher self, our soul, and then the strings are the energy of our selves that are kind of invisible. We don't see them while we're on Earth, but they're moving us around. And we're connected to the same. But there was a point where I used to think that I had a different, separate higher self than Mike did. And you once told me that we have the same higher self, and I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? And then I realized after that I just needed at that time to see it as there were two separate ones. It was just the two sides of the same coin. I was seeing what I was reflected back for me, knowing he was seeing what was reflected back for him. And it appeared at that time, because that's what I needed it to appear like, for me to take it in. Just like some people don't need to understand a divine aspect to take a spiritual awakening, I did. I needed to understand, I needed to see the divine as separate from myself in order to trust it, before I was willing to trust that it was a piece that I was of the divine. And so, everybody needs it at a certain way, one way, to evolve to a different way later. And so, I realize that now. Just took me a while to get there.
Yep. Well, you guys, I had so much fun, Maureen, pulling cards with you last week. Is there anybody who wants to do tag team with me with cards? I pulled 2 decks that I like. I can't decide which one. Maybe I'll let you guys each choose. I know I've used both these before. There's this Oracle Tarot, since it's all, well, I don't know. Saranya, I think Saranya is one of the iPhones, and I'm not sure who the other iPhone is. That might be Kelly. Who's the other iPhone? If you want to speak up, you can. You don't have to. Hi, Saranya.
Hi.
Oh, it is you, Kelly? Oh, good. I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah.
How are you? Can we send you energy for the situation you're in with the surgery and stuff? We would love to.
Oh, sure. I would appreciate it. Any little bit of help, any help I can get would be great.
Yeah. So since we're all divine feminine heavy polarities, I grabbed the Oracle Tarot, which I love because that little redhead, she's just so awesome in all of them. Then I grabbed Magical Times too, which isn't a tarot, it's just Oracle cards. But does somebody else want to, like, I'll draw one and somebody else will draw one for everybody, for each? You don't have to.
I would love to. I haven't done
right.
it in a long, long time.
Nice. Me and Joe. I'm assuming everybody wants a card. You all know how this goes. I'll just pick you and I'll pull your card. Well, you tell me what, Aaron, or well, Maureen, you are nodding. What deck do you want from me? Oracle, Tarot, or Magical Times?
The Oracle Tarot.
Okay.
Look at that face. You knew it already. You just were
Figured
asking.
you would because I don't know. I just thought of you. It's making me think of you.
You. I'm just feeling so warm all of a sudden. Woo. I feel literally like my hands are sweating now all of a sudden. I don't know what this is. So go ahead. I don't know what it is.
It's me and Joanna's magical combined powers. Wonder Twins activate.
Something. Woo.
Bye, everybody. I have to get going.
Oh, Amy, I'll pull you a card and put it on.
Yeah,
Which
don't
deck
worry.
do you want?
Oh, I don't know. What is it? Magical?
Magical Times
And what's the other
or
one?
Oracle Tarot?
I'll try the Magical Times.
Okay, we'll do. Oh, Maureen.
Hey,
Thank
Justin.
you.
Two of Wands. Oh, there's Justin. Two of Wands. Your own power.
Oh, I need that.
Wow, look at that. Huh.
That one's for Maureen.
Isn't this what
So
we were talking about?
yeah, I think so. Look, isn't that funny how it's like the middle part of like if you turn it upside down, it looks like the middle part of the sigil or the drawing that Aaron's
The
drawing.
top one?
No, of Aaron's, like what Aaron's doing.
Aaron's.
Oh,
Oh.
well, up here. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess up there where the two wands are meeting sort of does look like the one that you drew today at the bottom. It looks like the
That's wild. That's wild.
two of wands, your own power. And I think that's really interesting, huh? Justin, how's your day going? Oh, he turned off his video.
So we're pulling for Marine, right?
Yep.
Because I pulled this for you, Marine. It says right action. A paragraphia? A paragraph? Graha? Never heard that word before. But I'll send you a picture of this. It says literally means let everything that wants to go, go. And everything that wants to come, come.
Like that thing that I had as a kid. If you let something go and it comes back to you, it was meant to be for you. And if it wasn't, then you have to let it go.
Yes. And then I also wanted, on the bottom of the deck, I got divine flow, which says eventually one sublime desire takes precedence over all others to follow the Tao, the divine flow, and at all costs.
And this one is saying to take your own power and be in that flow, right? And use it. It's like the two absolutely dovetail together.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Oh, Justin,
Thank
thanks.
you. Thank you both. That's wow. Wow. In the flow, baby. In the flow.
And own your power.
And own my power.
All right, since Amy was up, there's Justin again. Since Amy had to go, let's do hers real quick. Ooh, man, there's Justin. Amy got new career moves. She'll be interested in that. The one of coins. She's just been through so much with her own career. It's her money is wearing wings. Joanna, what'd you get for Amy?
I got karma. It said there's nothing from a past life that can't be addressed in the current life.
Justin, can you hear us? I don't know if you can. Erin, which deck do you want? Magical Times or Oracle Tarot?
Whatever you want. Oh, when I finished looking at, I was born during 6 retrogrades.
Are you you're not 74, are you? You're 75?
80.
Oh, you're 1980. I thought you were only a year off from me. You get magical times.
I just feel really old right now. That was the year I graduated from high school.
Who are we pulling for on this one, Michelle?
Erin.
Okay.
Erin, faith. Believe you are not alone. Spirit is right beside you. Ask for help. You know that.
And then Aaron, I got for you change. It says, when the ego finally sees the utter madness of trying to control everything, you come to a sacred crossroads in your own evolution.
That's funny. I didn't realize 2 would flip for you. The second one, the flip is action. So wait, faith. And then what was it? What was the name of the card Joanna had? Faith, change, and action. And this one has a Pegasus on it. It says, stop hesitating. Movement creates the magic. Nothing can hold you back. I just think that's all, like, that's exactly where you're at, right? Is in the midst of all of that.
Yes, and I keep feeling like I'm not, like every time I sit down to focus on something, I struggle.
Why is that?
Probably because of what Joanna's card said about, my ego gets in the way. Probably one of those difficult lessons, and I'm really trying hard to figure out how to not let it get in the way. I have a time crunch, and I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss the opportunity.
What's your time crunch?
I paid to be in a booth at the Conscious Living Fair. So I'm going to be doing tarot card readings, and it's once a month. So I'll be there on October. I don't remember what date it was, the first or second Saturday of October, November 2nd, and then October, November, and December. And I paid for it. And I wanted to advertise my services while I'm there. So I have to get things ready. And I don't know. I'm struggling to make sure that I have everything that I feel is needed on my Facebook page so that people know what they're going to my page for. So, information. Yeah, I'm struggling to figure out what it is I'm missing.
Maybe you're not missing anything. Amanda, how about Amanda next? Since she's next on my screen. I don't know if Amanda can talk. Amanda, I'm choosing for you. I'm going to get you I'm doing the magical times. I'm liking how these are feeling tonight.
So when I was shuffling, I didn't know exactly who we were pulling for, but this card came out, so I decided to keep it. I was like, okay. So while you're shuffling for Amanda, this one is love. It says divine source is the idea that no person, place, or thing is your salvation, only love itself. I really like this card out of this deck because this is talking about nothing outside of you is going to save you. Nothing outside of you is going to love you more than God, source, universe, and self. So to get back to self is the most important.
Joanna, I love that because look, she got Pilgrimage from the Magical Times deck, and it's a wizard, and he is surrounded by, in winter, he's on a great track, the Pilgrimage, and he is surrounded by coyote, owl, elk, hawk, bear, badger, and he is on a journey to his own greatness. You are on a journey to your own greatness. Your soul is longing to find the way. Only you can choose your path. And that's what you were talking about, the path to love. That's self-love.
Yes. And on here we got hummingbirds with the lotus flower.
Oh, you know that Amanda just posted about seeing hummingbirds in the group lately.
Really? I
Yes.
think with my new page that I have, I'm not in the group. I might have to go check and see. I don't know if I'm in the group or not. Am I in the group?
I don't know. I don't think I let groups, I don't have it so that groups can join, but I don't care if you join with your group. I can change that setting. I don't think anybody who's in a group really asks. And I can
Well,
always-
no, not like that. Like me, myself, like my whole other page, because my other one got hacked.
Oh, I don't know. I'll check and I'll see. Yeah.
Okay,
Because I don't know
okay.
that I've seen you in there lately.
Are you back on Facebook? You must be.
Yes, as a different, it's JoJo instead of Joanna, because my old page got hacked.
Yeah,
Like when I
somebody
shut it
tried to-
down, it was, I had shut it down, but I had left, like I had got onto it. And within that 24 freaking hour period, because my husband got hacked, and I opened up what they sent to me thinking it was, yeah, got hacked too. So I was like, see, this is why I shouldn't have even got back on social media. So, damn it.
Do you have your friends list hidden? Always hide your friends list. That's how they go through and find other people to hack.
Okay, I'll definitely go check on this new page. Thank you for that.
Okay. Ronell wants Magical Times. Ronell, you're so quiet. Are you doing okay? How's Leslie? I don't know if she can speak or not. She might not be able to. Ooh. Oh, Ronell, you got Faith too. You guys, I swear, I don't know how this happens. This is this group, right? We're meant to be here. She also got Faith. And that one popped out really good. Did you see that? I'll reread it. And I just feel like this is so appropriate for Ronell right now because she's in this new place and practicing all of her healing and everything that she is supposed to be doing. And she's supposed to believe you are not alone. Spirit is right beside you. Ask for guidance and it will come.
And then for Ronell, I got divine abundance. It says you were born to align with love's will, with the Teo, and serve everything, something beyond the ego. Learn to be abundance, not chase it. So this is just a reminder, like you're abundant no matter what. You don't have to chase anything because whatever is yours and meant for you it's already there. You already inhabit it. It's yours. You are the divine, baby.
She might have fallen asleep in the middle of the night for her, I think.
I know it's so late where she is. Let's see.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
welcome. She messaged.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah. You're welcome. Michelle, which deck do you want?
Either one. I'm not sure which one to go with today.
Or Tarot? Oh, that was quick. I guess I picked the right deck. Oh, that's funny. You got 3. Ego, you got the 7 of Swords, ego and internal politics. Yeah, I feel like there's this fight going on. Look at how she's held in place by all the points of the 7 swords. And she like is very uncomfortable and can't move. There's one on every chakra, pretty much. And
Yeah.
internal politics, whatever you're fighting with inside of yourself, you're headed for a tower moment. You got the tower. And it is discovery, change, and adjustments that need to be made in order to get you out of that place. And here's what I find really interesting. It's almost like the holes in the tower are kind of matched up with the points of the sword.
Oh yeah, that was
And here
really
in the
interesting.
tower, you've escaped, and you're looking in at the place where you were once held in place. And then you have the 10 of Wands, which is then once you can escape from there, you put down your burden. And look how, I know that these are wands, which is different from swords, but to me, all I see is you taking those swords and it's like magic, right? You're just taking them and you're putting them out of yourself and you're going to send them off to do what they need to do elsewhere. They don't need to be internal politicking causing this frozen state within you. Put
Mm.
down your burden.
I really love that because your cards go with this one about talking about the tower, which we can also refer to as a wall that needs to be let down. And this card is self-love for you, Michelle. And it says, let the wall fall that separates me from my own vulnerable inner child. I long to take care of myself like never before.
Mm. That's
So
really
whatever
interesting.
tower moment is coming in for you, Michelle, is going to trigger like core wounds from childhood. So it's all about, you know, being there for your inner child and being that loving adult for yourself. I
Yeah.
believe whatever's going to be coming in for you. So love that.
That's really interesting. All those cards. It seems to be I think that's pretty accurate because there's a few things that have been going on the past few days.
Yeah.
I also
Yeah.
have something for you. So I was watching it the other day, and it's actually a TV show my twin was in. And there was an episode, and she said, lay down your burdens. Or
Oh,
put
God.
down your, and it literally, the song was lay down your burdens and let the healing start. And
Mm.
that's what they're singing. It's kind of like this gospel song type that they're singing. And it was like, they just suddenly put that image back into my head because I was using it the other day to create art. I'm turning my twin into a cartoon to make some of my art. And I took him from this scene and I saw that scene. So it was like, lay down your burdens, let the healing start or something like that. And they're playing it over and over and over in my head until I actually said, they're like, you have to say this. And they're like,
Oh my gosh.
you have to say this, lay down your
That's
burdens and let the healing start.
That's interesting. Yeah. I really do need to do that. I really do need to let go of things.
Michelle, since we're on
It's
Michelle,
hard.
sorry, Michelle, finish what you're going to say, but Michelle, do you want next and which deck do you want? And I want Michelle A to finish what she's saying.
No, I was just saying it's hard to do. It's hard to let go of certain things. It's just really, I don't know. I've been having a really hard time with certain things.
Michelle, which deck do you want?
Me,
Michelle,
magical moments.
magical
I guess.
times.
Yes.
Magical times. Let me take a picture. I think I forgot to take a picture of Amanda's. Okay. Michelle.
While I was shuffling, Michelle's got two cards while you shuffle. She got sacrifice, and it says sometimes surrender is painful. God's cutting away all the needs to go, illusions, obsessions, addictions. It's a sacrifice to love. And then you got sanctity. Oh, I have such a hard time saying that word. Through offering, even the most mundane problem can become a sacrament.
So
Wow, sacrifice.
sacrifice, sanctity, and power.
I love that.
Call upon the elements. Focus your intentions. The greatest dragon is within you.
What the card is power.
Power. So sanctity
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice and power. I feel there's this whole Joan of Arc thing I'm feeling. And that goes right back to Sinead O'Connor, because she's kind of like, she feels like a Joan of Arc figure to me.
Yeah, actually, that's I've since the very beginning, I felt that from her when I connected with her energy. However, I found out from a medium who tried to, well, supposedly she channeled her because people asked her questions. Well, there was just a doctor, and she asked her that questions if she was Joan of Arc in the past life, and the answer was no. But it's very curious because a lot of people get the same feeling from her. I mean, even though the story that I was not connected to her before she passed away, and when I connected to her, the first thing that I got was that she gave me this impression of being Joan of Arc in some past life. In a lot of other people who were her fan express the same thing in different type of conversations. They get the same likelihood from her, similarity, but always it's more towards Joan of Arc rather than other character.
Yeah, interesting. I really get that feeling. And look at where Joanna is showing. There's
That's Shiv and Shakti.
Shiva and Shakti.
The twin flames, the higher self watching over your part, your divinity. Watch your higher selves. I would say that is watching after yourself, doing the sacrifice of releasing illusions and obsessions and addictions, and sacrifice to love, because that's exactly what this is talking about. And then this really, I've pulled this card several times for people, and I have never noticed that till tonight. So, your spirit guides are really showing this to me right now, talking about, all this that is happening, where you do need to, well, I wouldn't say need, but this opportunity, this window for you right now, what me and Michelle just pulled for you, is being divinely guided by your higher self to, sacrifice these things that are no longer serving you, so that, we can get to this, right? So I love that for you.
Right.
Just
And
a reminder.
what our tarot deck is that?
Oh, so this is an oracle deck, and it is Divine Abundance.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I really like that. I really like that deck.
Guys, I got this at TJ Maxx, and it just stuck out to me, and I was like, oh wow, I bet that's beautiful. And it doesn't have a book or nothing. What's on the cards is what it is. So
Yeah, that's cool. All right, Saranya, do you want a card?
Sure.
Do you have a preference of deck?
No.
Oracle Tarot. How are you doing, Saranya?
I'm okay. I'm a little emotional today. I don't know why, but yeah, I'm okay.
The Three of Coins, purposeful action. Look at you balancing on those 3 coins like a skateboard. Balance board with 3. 3 coins holding it up. Purposeful action. You got 2. You also got bondage. Interesting. Issues of control and freedom. So there you are, all bonded up and being held back, and your wings being tied up and hanging off a cliff. And that's funny, right? Balance on the ground here and then hanging in midair. Almost like they feel like such opposites.
Mm-hmm.
Being pulled in multiple directions.
Interesting.
and for you, I got grief. You said you were feeling kind of low and down and didn't know why.
Yeah.
Well, for one, I can explain to you, like, there's times when emotions and things come up that nothing in our realm is going on, but we also have a divine counterpart, our other self. So, take that in account that they're going through grief right now. And I think this is for your twin right now. They're going through grief.
Oh,
The
yeah.
message is tears are what happen when the ice in the heart melts. So healing is taking place. Okay. And if you feel like you need to cry, let it out. Definitely send love, a lot of unconditional love, and to not only yourself but to your twin, because this is part of the divine flow. You got divine flow. Eventually, one sublime desire takes precedence over all others. To follow the Tao, the divine flow at all costs. And look, transformation is taking place. This butterfly is really sticking out to me. So this is
Oh, wow.
maybe while I was shuffling, I asked, like, why is she feeling sad? Why is she feeling down? This is why. This is it right here.
Oh, wow. That makes sense.
So when you say all of that, what I feel like is these should have come after. And so what is there to be done? There's purposeful action to be taken to break out of the bondage that she finds herself in.
So what's the bondage?
What is the bondage? It's control issues and wishing and wanting more freedom. And I think when we try to control others, we bind ourselves up even more than we always bind up ourselves more than we bind up others.
She asked that question about bondage, and this came right out. So I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you real quick. Outrageous openness. It says, "Dear love, open to me your will. Release me from my attachments. Surprise and delight me with your plan. You know what's needed, and I'm open to receive." That's your twin talking to you.
Wow.
So, you know.
Thank you, guys. That was so good. Thank you for the cards.
You're welcome.
Did we miss anyone? I think we got everyone. Joanna, do you want a card from me?
Absolutely.
I think you want magical all times.
Yeah, you know what? That's exactly what I said when you first shown the decks. I'll even pull me a card out of here.
Okay. Woo. There it went. All right. You got 2 cards. One is gratitude. Oh, and this is
Oh my God, look.
Oh.
Nice.
Lotus flower, and you've got a rose on there.
You know what? I got goosebumps too, because I've been practicing gratitude at night before I go to bed. I've stopped doing prayers. It's gratitude, thankfulness when I lay my head down. So.
And you've got the hummingbird going into the heart of the flower here. And it says, be grateful for abundance, live in appreciation for what you have, and more good things will come.
Yes. That's what I've
have.
been focusing on. So I love that. I love that message.
Perfect. And then the second card that popped was adversity. See the gifts in challenge. One can be taught within the calm, but the greatest lessons are learned from the storms.
That is a beautiful card.
We know to be true. Gotta love those storms.
I love that we both got gratitude. This card says, sorry, my Oki came out, says, fill me with gratitude for all you give. May I be a vehicle for you wherever I go. Fill me with the gratitude for all you give. May I be a vehicle for you wherever I go. Wow, okay. Wow, okay, I'm going to have to write that down for myself. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, this was marathon. I love you all, but now I'm going to go eat my real dinner. Oh, wait, before we go, hold on. Nobody hang up. Michelle Michelle shared something with me that I want to share. If you all want to look at it, let's see if I can get this to open. Let me share. gosh, you guys know I'm always so stupid about this. Let's see. How do I share? How do I share my screen? Oh yeah, share screen. It's the big green button that says share
Yeah.
screen.
Green button.
Oh, I have to tell it. Hold on. I have to tell it that it's allowed to share. I redid my computer. Zoom may not be able to record the contents. Well, that's all right. We're all right with that. All right. Hopefully it will work. Share screen. Oh, good. It did work. Which one is that? Share. Okay. So this little bird Michelle found in the park. Can you guys see it? Or
Well,
not really?
I didn't find it in the park.
Oh, where'd you find it?
I found it under a car,
Oh,
like hidden in the tire of the car when I was walking towards the corner store at night, and I stepped next to him, so that's why I could notice he was there.
Hold on, let me stop sharing this one and let me share the bigger one. I figured out how to make it bigger.
It's a baby bird. He couldn't fly. Actually, he was not strong enough to fly high because he will fall down.
he hasn't his usually when they're in the nest, they'll do things with their wings, flap them up and down to get them to be strong.
Yeah, he was weak with his
So
wings.
it's really interesting because there's a story about how this man, he felt sorry for this butterfly that was trying to get out of the cocoon, and so he went over there and he tore the cocoon so the butterfly can get out of the cocoon a lot easier. And the butterfly didn't have enough strength in its wings to fly. And the moral of the story is that if you don't, build up your muscles enough to fly, then you won't be, doing that. And for him, it was about helping somebody. And then he was really doing a disservice when he thought he was doing a service. So it's interesting that you had a bird that couldn't fly very much. So it must not have been able to exercise its wings in the nest enough to build up that strength.
Well, this is the first time that I run into a baby bird like this.
Yeah.
And I felt like I didn't want to let him abandon there because he seemed lost.
Yeah.
So since it was dark, I couldn't see if there was a nest up in those trees.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took him home. I bought this seeds for birds in the corner store. And all the time I held him in my hand and he was comfort. He never tried to run away, fly away. So when I came back home, I spent some time with him, like nurturing him.
Mm-hmm.
And I put him in this room away from my cat. And I tried to feed him and give him some water, like water drops with the tip of my finger, because I really had no idea how to feed a baby bird. So I did what I could, but I was worried because I was trying to figure out what to do. So today, since I was meditating on finding a solution for him, either I would keep him or find the right place to release him out at the park, because I found out that it was too much work to feed him as a baby, like every 2 or 3 hours, something like that. So I couldn't spend the time, to be honest. So, but I don't know, I felt an attachment to him. And today when I was off work, I went to find the nests where he might fall down off, and there were no birds around, like their parents or the nests on those trees. So I went to this big park walking past Claudia's house, and I took my ladder with me. I tried to leave him at this wooden house up, but it was far unreachable, so I couldn't. And I was still concerned where to leave him, because again, I didn't want to leave him just anywhere. And I was still meditating on the right solution. So finally, when I was walking around and around and around, finding the right place, or I was even trying to find a person maybe that would have some birds, drawn to birds. And I stopped with this woman and I asked, hey, do you know some nests around or something? And suddenly this woman came from my back. She entered the conversation just out of the blue, like not minding her business. And then I asked, hey, do you by any chance, do you have some birds at home? And she said, yes, I do. And I said, oh, okay, well, this bird is for you. So I give it to her and she accepted it right away. She said, oh yeah. And I showed the little bird to her and she really accepted it. And she said she had to pair, a couple of birds with like a family and their babies. And she said right away, yeah, I can take it home. So I brought the woman here home so I could give her the seeds for the birds, the bag that I purchased. But when they left, I felt a grief, like when you get someone ripped off your chest. And I felt this grief, like someone's dead. And I don't know, I'm trying to understand why, because she took the bird with her, with gratitude. She felt happy with it. But I don't know why I felt this. So I don't know if you can sense any message from the elemental behind the bird. I don't know if that means something else, because I don't understand why me feeling this grief for him going away. I thought it was the right thing to do anyway. And I still feel sorrow.
Interesting. Both you and Soraya feeling sorrow and grief.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I would had this bird for a long time and then I had to rehome him, but it was just not even, I don't know, like less than 20 hours with me. I don't know why this feeling. I don't know if there's something beyond that, any meaning beyond that.
I think it's really beautiful that you helped out this little bird that really needed that time and didn't have that support, and you brought that support, and then you try to find a place for it, and then it's like here comes this woman in there, and that's her genius, is taking care of the little birds, and for you to find that's awesome.
I feel like, yeah, it was just a path that was meant to be followed. And I don't know if there's much more in it except that you played the part that you were supposed to. Like maybe you weren't really supposed to be involved for more than that. You were there to, every life is precious, right? In some way or other. And that little bird, maybe there's something about that. Maybe that woman needed that, or obviously she did. It was meant to happen that way. And you played your role.
Yeah, or you needed that.
Yeah, and you needed that for some reason, to give that love and see that success with caring for the little bird and then handing it off to someone who can do the next steps. If anybody else gets anything, please share. Yeah. Well, Michelle, if you want, you can share those videos in the group. And anybody else who has anything to say can.
Oh, I mean, it's okay. I appreciate what your senses are about, or your thoughts are about this experience.
All right.
Thank you for caretaking for that little birdie.
Love you all.
Thank you.
Bye.